What ended your friendship with a former best friend? His wife cheated on him. I was the bad guy for trying to let him know. Bullying, basically. I realized that all that good-natured ribbing over time was really more malicious than good-natured, and that I was the outlet for his own insecurities. My best friend, kinda my only friend, stopped talking to me from one day to another. Never was able to get in contact with him again. Didn't respond to calls or texts, wasn't home when I showed up, nothing. I still don't know if I did something wrong or what his motivation was. It's been just over 4 years now. Still sucks at times. Choosing men over her family and close friends, disappearing to another state at the drop of a hat with no way to be contacted, and meth. Unhealthy friendship dynamic. She always needed my approval, and when I'd be honest about the fact she fucked up, she'd tell me what a terrible friend I was. She could never take responsibility for her actions. Fucked over every person she knew. Lied about everything and burned every bridge she made. The downside is that she was fun as hell, my favorite outdoor adventure partner. And we'd been besties from our 20s into 40s. But damn, time to grow the fuck up, you know? He got a DUI while driving my car and then lied about it and lied about why my car was towed. He lied about losing his license. Suddenly he just wanted to walk everywhere for the exercise. He lied to my friends and told them it was my fault cause registration had lapsed. When I finally confronted him about it, he kept lying. He kept not showing up when we said we'd meet somewhere. No call, no text, nothing. She became a mom martyr. The clincher was when I told her I was assaulted at work by a full-grown man covered in poop, and she responded, "Well, that happens to me daily and nobody pays me." Her oldest was 7. He went to prison for soliciting sex with a minor. Whole thing was a sting set up through online exchanges, so no one was actually hurt. Broke my heart though when I heard the news. Especially since there were warning signs, which I've since thought about quite a bit. Had it not happened, he would have easily been one of my groomsmen only a few years later. He got a girlfriend, so less time for me. After a few years I got home and saw them moving stuff out. We lived in the same apartment, different floor. They never said anything to me at all, no hint. They just left, not even a card or an invitation. That was the end of the friendship. Not best, but recently a close friend sorta just stopped talking to me. Think it hurt more because I have no idea what I did. About 4 years ago I lost a few people I thought were close friends. Turned out they didn't actually like me at all, they just felt bad for me and also used me. Moral of the story? Never act like someone's friend because you feel bad for them. It just causes more harm and doesn't help them. He fucked a mutual friend's wife. Confided in me that it was happening. I told him he had to end it and come clean. Instead of doing the right thing, he started lying to me about it. Long story short, I ended our friendship of over 15 years. Renting an apartment together. Never live with friends, folks. Become friends with people you live with. Years later I realized that the problem was me. Wasn't completely finished, yet. We just hadn't talked to each other for a while. Then we got speaking and he started acting a bit weird. Until he literally asked me if he could suck my dick for money. Tried upping his bid and changing the scenery a few times, getting me to accept it. Cut off contact, but goddamn still shocked someone did that. No matter if it's a friend of mine, but who the FK asks someone if you could suck his dick and even pay for it? WTF? She slept with my fiancé 2 weeks before the wedding in my bed. She got together with her now fiancé and he is so controlling. He cut her off from everyone and now she has no friends. She slowly cut off all contact even over text, and now when I see her at the gym with him she doesn't even wave. Her maid of honor is one of her fiancé's girlfriends. My 16-year-old sister got me tickets to the Harry Potter exhibit in New York City when I was 13. Spent her own money on it for 2 tickets. Me and her. My best friend found out and threw a fit to her mother that she should be going because she is a bigger fan, and the mother messaged my sister to tell her to give her ticket to her daughter because it's the right thing to do. My sister told her to fuck off and told me immediately. When I realized all we had in common was binge drinking. No support when it came to attempts to cut back. Instead they got irritated when I didn't want to go to the bars. I kept saying no and explaining I wanted to avoid situations with drinking. One guy said you can't be part of our friend group if you don't like going out drinking, as some sort of intimidation tactic. It turned out he is a cunt. I stopped being the first one to reach out every time. Never heard a word from them again. Life got in the way and we drifted apart. I was told I couldn't have children after years of wanting nothing more than to be a mother. Even with this knowledge, my former BFF told me one day that I could never know what love really was because I didn't have kids. I realized that day just how toxic, abusive, and one-sided our friendship had always been, and cut her from my life. Turns out the DRS were wrong and I'm currently 5 months pregnant with my first child at 40. So yay for happy endings. The way they talked about my partner. How they were self-centered. How certain things have changed for the worse in my life since spending more time with them. The guilt tripping and pressure. Roommate friend used to let his dog pee all over the house and my stuff without even trying to clean it or apologize for his dog piss. Stopped talking to him after getting tired of it. My old friend since elementary school started slowly pushing his political and religious views onto me as we got older. He was a Christian conservative, I was an agnostic independent. Eventually he gave me an ultimatum, either fully agree with him and join his church, or be considered his enemy. So I ended the friendship. Religion and politics can ruin any friendship, no matter how great. My mental health. It got too much to handle and they backed out. I absolutely understand this, but hurt. FB rumors. Fuck FB and people who doubt you because of a rumor. Have been FB free 3 years now. Her extreme political views. They kept getting more extreme as time went on. It got to the point where all she did was gripe and complain about it. She'd turn any conversation political and even got to the point where she would randomly send me bogus articles to support her claims. I eventually got to the point where I had to do what was best for me and break off contact. When I realized I was basically this person's free therapist and we saw each other a lot, everything was a moan fest, caused me way more stress and misery than happiness. Blamed his wife wanting a divorce on me, said he wrote a book about how bad a friend I have been, so I asked why he keeps contacting me if I'm so bad. I said, had enough of your shit, never contact me again. Whenever we went out, he would hide himself if any of his other friends or our mates were around. I didn't mind it in the beginning. Later I found out he would talk shit about me with others so that they won't be friends with me either and spread rumors about me. When a date basically got me drunk and tried to do things, he blamed me for acting like a victim. His mom had passed away from cancer recently, so I didn't pick up any fight or anything, but soon afterwards I cut him out of my life anyway. She married my ex lol. To be clear, this was a boy I dated for 2 months in high school. They were well into their 30s when they got together. I could not have given less of a fuck. Was happy for them even. He, however, apparently has hated me ever since we broke up in the 10th grade, and pushed me right out of her life. It would have made me sad if it wasn't so pathetically hilarious. I'm lucky to say, all the best friendships I've had that have ended because our lives just grew in different directions. They are wonderful people whom I love and always will love very much. The friend found Jesus. That put a strain on the friendship because finding Jesus apparently means you have to try to convince everyone else to find him too. Repeatedly. They died. I had a complete mental breakdown last year, and instead of being supportive, she made it all about her. Went on Facebook and asked people to pray for me and tagged a bunch of people including me. I'm a private person. I didn't need the world to know I was so depressed that I couldn't even get out of bed. He told my entire group of friends and a lot of non-friends at a party that I told him I was gay, before I got a chance to tell them myself. Lack of empathy. Her cousin made a pass at me while I was visiting her. The cousin was in a long-term, committed relationship at the time. I never saw or spoke to the cousin before or after the pass he made at me. He kissed me out of nowhere that one night. My BFF called me a week later because the cousin dumped his GF and had asked my BFF if she could call me and connect us. She blamed me for ruining her cousin's relationship and life. She was angry at me. We never spoke again. I joined the military. He started cooking meth. Then rehab. I tried to reconnect with him when he was supposedly sober and I promised I'd come see him after a deployment, but I found out he killed himself while I was gone. I'll forever hate myself for not trying to reconnect sooner. My depression chased him away. I stressed him too much. I was getting married and they lived over an hour away and got mad that I was no longer calling them to talk for 3 hours at a time. I was in college full-time, work part-time and planning a wedding. She felt neglected. He's doing 9 years in prison now. That kinda put a damper on the friendship. I kicked his ass at Madden. He got mad, thought he was Randy Johnson, and threw his controller at my brand new TV. Obviously my TV was fucked. He started laughing like a psychopath rather than apologizing. I immediately kicked him out. He never offered to replace it, so I haven't spoken with him since. He tried to exploit my father's death to convert me to Christianity. I asked him to be a groomsman in my wedding. He turned it down because he said he had plans to attend a wedding of another friend of his the following day. Apparently this other friend he had known for months, and me and my friend had been best friends throughout high school. I just stopped reaching out to him after that, and thus we have not spoken since that time. It's weird, but I guess I just wasn't cool enough to him anymore or something. We grew apart, and her friends, including her, were assholes to me. She's spoiled, so she thought she was top tier. When COVID first started, she advertised that she now hated all Chinese people. I'm Chinese.